So this is to explain the time I did DMT in Mexico while traveling. I decided to go traveling backpacking in 2018, November of 2018, and I landed in Mexico City. And I had a whole planned trip to go to, traveling backpack starting off in Mexico, and I was going to make my way down south to Peru. And with the plan in mind, I was going to go to Peru and try to go into the jungle to do ayahuasca because that had always been on my mind. And as I was in Mexico City, I was staying in the hostel, and I met numerous people in the hostel. One being this Chinese girl, and another guy I met he was from India. And one day they decided to ask me if I wanted to go to the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City. So I decided to tag along. I was like, what else am I gonna do? So I went. I went down to the museum. The museum's huge. You can go it is so big. The one girl, the Chinese girl, she went back the second day she didn't get to see enough, and we was there all day just looking at different stuff all over the place. And as we were about to leave, I happened to look over at this mural, and I wanted to take a picture of this mural of these dragons going. They were like intertwined with each other. Whatever. It was just a really cool mural that I wanted to go see, and I wanted to take a picture of it. And that was like, because it was at the end of the day, and we was getting ready to leave to go back to the hostel. And the Indian guy, he was big into being like, I guess what you consider a yogi, like meditations and all that stuff and all that spiritualism and stuff like that. And I thought that was cool. But he happened to come across this documentary that was about to air in the museum, and he just started jumping up and down like, hey, can we go to this documentary? I want to go see it. And I had no idea what the documentary was going to be about. I just decided, I said, oh, okay, what the hell? So we go in there, we sit down for the documentary's about to start, and I decided I had no idea what to expect. I thought it was going to be about meditation and all that, and I thought a 2-hour documentary on being a yogi and meditation. And as we got into the documentary, I come to find out I'm sitting in a documentary about a guy in Mexico who discovered using the DMT 5-MeO as a medicinal, and how he come across it. The documentary explained everything involving his research into the drug. And come to find out, this doctor had completed medical school in Mexico, and then as he got out of school, something pondered to him, and he decided to try like every drug in the world to see like why they were holding back and why we didn't have more studies on all the various types of drugs. And he apparently had gotten hooked on crack cocaine, and found a way to use the 5-MeO DMT to break the habit of crack cocaine. And he started experimenting on people with such problems, depression, addiction, and other forms. And I just realized I'm sitting in this documentary, and I'm like, holy crap, this is the strongest drug for psychedelics that there is. And I was just like taken back. I was like, wow, I don't even know how I ended up here, and I don't know how it just came to be. It was like the forces of nature came to be and put me in here in this spot in this time and place. And so happens that what happened to the doctor was he was experimenting on people. He got invited by one of the native tribes in Mexico, and the elders had come to him and said, hey, we see what you're doing with this. We want you to come with us for X amount of time, and we will teach you the old ways of how this ceremony is performed and how we do it on our people. So he went with that, and then long story short, he now does ceremonies and like that, and tries to do what he wants to help people break the addiction, depression, and stuff like that. So at the end of the ceremony, or at the end of the documentary, I end up meeting him. And I just happened to ask him because I was interested because I experimented a time or two with psychedelics, mushrooms and whatnot, and this and that over the years. So I was curious. I was interested. So he shoots me an email and he says we can come out to a ceremony somewhere there up in the north part of Mexico City. And the Chinese girl, she could speak Spanish. I couldn't speak Spanish at the time, and she was basically gonna be my translator and help me get around because Mexico City is like the biggest city I ever been to. So she's gonna, and she stated she didn't drink, she didn't do nothing. She wasn't about the party life, so I didn't think much of it. And I told her, I said, hey, thanks for bringing us out here and showing us or helping me get here. I was like, if you want to, you can just sit back and watch me partake in the ceremony. But I appreciate you being here. She's like, oh no. She says, I think I'm going to try. And I said, what? I was like, okay. And so we end up at the ceremony, and she gets called up first. The doctor wants to give it to her very first off the bat. And that was crazy.